So greetings to everybody, our Dhamma friends who are interested in the teaching of the Buddha and try to follow his teaching to the utmost of our ability. So welcome the first person tonight, which is Mudita from Bangkok.
Good evening, Ajahn. I would like to ask a question about Satipatthana Sutta on contemplating the body internally and externally, and I would like to know what it means.
Well, internally and externally can mean two things. Internally mean your own body.
Right.
Externally is other people's body. But you can also contemplate the outside part of the body, like the hair to the skin,
right.
And then you contemplate on the internal side of the body, inner side of the body, the parts under the skin. This can also considered to be inner body and outer body. So what you want to contemplate is anicca. It's changing,
right.
And change from good to bad. It might be good looking today, but it can be bad looking the next day. Or it's good looking outside, but it's bad looking inside. So you have to look at many dimensions of the body. Look at anicca, aging, sickness, and death. Looking anatta, no self in the body. If you search the whole body, you won't find yourself in the body.
Right.
You just find the 32 parts in the body.
Okay.
And you'll find that it is made up of the 4 elements. The combination of earth, water, fire, and wind. So this is what you want to contemplate, to teach your mind to realize that the mind is not the body. The one who contemplates is not the body.
Right.
It's like somebody who studies the body is not the body.
Okay.
The body cannot study itself.
Mm-hmm.
The body has no ability to study. It's only the mind that has the ability to study, to think, to know. The body has just the parts, the ability to move, to function, but it doesn't have ability to think. It's like an automobile. So you want to teach your mind to not be deluded by the thought that this body is you, so that you can then be free from suffering.
Mm-hmm.
If you know this is not you, then when it dies or when it gets sick or when it gets so what,
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see other people's body, when they get old, get sick or die, so what? It's not you. But this is what you want to be able to teach your mind, to be able to see it this way.
Right.
Okay.
So that means contemplating the body. This one can be both samatha and vipassana at the same time. Is that correct?
Not really. This is really vipassana. But in order to be able to investigate or study the nature of the body for a long period of time, you need to have samadhi first. Your mind has to be calm and stable, not being moved by your defilements.
Right.
Then you will be able to spend lots of time just teaching yourself not to forget the truth of the body. Because as soon as you don't think, your mind will be taken over by your delusion right away. And your delusion will come back and tell you your body is you. So you have to be constantly telling yourself that the body is not you. And the body is not permanent. The body will change, will age, will get sick and die. So you want to teach the mind to prepare for this eventuality and then the mind can then letting go of the body. Because if the mind clings to the body, wanting the body not to get old, get sick, or die, then there will be dukkha in the mind. And if the mind doesn't have any desire for the body not to get old, get sick, or die, then there will be no dukkha. Cessation of dukkha appears. The third truth, the third noble truth. Follow the investigation, which is the fourth truth, the magga. Magga is wisdom, insight, knowledge. So this is what we want to do, to develop the magga, the path, so that the mind can see clearly the truth of the body as being anicca, anatta. And then when seeing this, it knows that it cannot have the desire for the body not to get old, get sick, or die, because it's not possible. It can only cause dukkha if you do this to the mind. This is the purpose of freeing the mind from dukkha. Once the mind can accept the truth of the body as being anicca, as being not self, not yourself, then it can then stop its desire for the body to not get old, get sick, or die. And let go, let the body be. Because you cannot stop it from being old, being sick, or being dead. Okay?
Yeah, very clear ค่ะท่านอาจารย์ Thank you so much ค่ะ
Yeah, just how long can you contemplate, how long can you remind yourself of this truth?
Not very long.
As soon as mosquito bite your body, you start to have dukkha already. Oh, I don't want the mosquito to bite me. Is it going to give me malaria? Oh, these thoughts come up right away. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
So you have to counter this thought and say, so what? It's not my body. Yeah. It's not me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to get malaria, so what? What can I do? Can I stop it? Yeah. Only thing I can do is take the medicine, go to the doctor, and get help. That's about all you can do for the body. Whether it's going to get well or not, that's who knows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But your mind will not be disturbed by dukkha, by worry, anxiety, or fear. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
try and ask yourself every day, am I the body? If I'm not the body, then whatever happens to the body, why should I be concerned?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next, Sajal Ka from Silver Spring, Maryland. How long you been living in the States? By the way, just curious.
I think almost 40 years now.
I see. You moved there in 1970 something.
Yeah, like 79. I came to California. Yeah, and I was Thanajan, I was just checking that whether your stay in California overlapped with mine, but I think it didn't. So I actually was checking your date of birth, and I found maybe they were in California then. Yeah,
I left in 1972. I lived there for 5 years, 67 to 72. During the hippie era, in the Vietnam War period, a lot of protests in the university campuses.
Yeah, the places that he went to for school and stuff are quite familiar. So I was just looking up in very fondly, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe that he was in another part of the town when I was going to here and that kind of thing. But it's really not that. So I was a little bit disappointed. I thought there he is. He's deciding to become a monk and he's taking full student educational career and stuff, and then soon after that he will go back and then decide to go for 1 year hiatus or something and then become a monk. And I'm thinking, here I am actually still deluded, very, very strongly deluded. Okay, so yeah, I think I don't want to hold you up. I do not have a question per se, but something I noticed recently. a couple of books I sent, thankfully by Jupe, and there in one of the books, you actually kind of nicely encourage to use the lotus position, and I have been doing the half lotus, and I think for the last couple of days, actually, I switched over to full lotus, and actually, I noticed this could be just something that I'm observing, but I find that the sitting and this thing, it becomes much more kind of balanced. And even though I've not done that in a while, there is a slight pain stuff. But if I ignore that, I find that the body seems to be more kind of evenly balanced, and as a result, actually the somehow it's kind of it kind of helps. And I just wanted to bring that up with you, and because you asked me about practice, so that is a small thing that is connected to the practice that I think I'm going to continue in spite of the pain, and maybe rub my legs upwards, and or start walking and then go back to the same posture. Yeah, so that's all. I don't have any questions.
Good. I think that's a good posture. We'll lock the body in place, keep it stable. So if you can sit in half or full lotus, both are good positions. So in the Thai forest tradition, they use the half lotus. Just the half lotus, not the full lotus. I think full lotus are practiced by the Mahayana tradition. But both are good, so you can try. It might be a little bit uncomfortable at first because you're not used to it. But after a while, the muscle and everything will more or less adjust to that position, and you won't feel any discomfort when you start sitting in that position. Okay, thank you for your information. Next, Kok Seng from Singapore.
Good evening, Ajahn. I have a question today regarding about the house pests, meaning the house ants, the house lizards, cockroaches. So normally what I did was I just leave them alone. So if, for example, if the lizard is just crawling on the wall, I just leave it there. However, in the case of the house ants, sometimes they are in the path when I'm cleaning. So as far as possible, I try not to so-called, when I'm using a cloth to clean the table, I try not to clean over there. However, sometimes I was cleaning too fast and I unintentionally crushed the ants. So my question is, this is considered as unintentionally cleaning of the ants, and is there any karma involved in this case? This is my first question.
It's not considered to be breaking the precept, so it's no bad karma, but it means you might not be as mindful as you should be, or as kind as you should be. If you see yourself being the ants, you might be more careful. Okay. Any second question you have?
Yes, it was actually related to just what Vida was about when mosquitoes. I did experience sometimes when mosquitoes I saw mosquitoes biting me. So normally what I did was I just blow away the mosquitoes. However, sometimes this thought comes to me, what happened if the mosquitoes was to bite my family members and so sometimes that I have this dilemma, or whether to blow away the mosquitoes or to kill the mosquitoes so that the mosquitoes will not bite my family. So sometimes there were times when I was in the dilemma whether to kill the mosquitoes or just to blow it away.
Or you can think like this, maybe it's time for them to get sick. Maybe it's time for them to die. If you can think like this, then you can leave them alone. Because you never know when they're going to get sick or when they're going to die, right? So if you think like this, then you sort of stop your worry and anxiety about them. Because when they're going to get sick or when they're going to die, you don't know, and you cannot prevent it when it happens. And this is also about your own body. It's the same thing also. This is the way to make your worry go away, make your anxiety, make your fear go away. When you are ready to face sickness and death, anytime, any place, because you don't know when it's going to happen. This is the real way of contemplating the truth. The truth is we don't know when, right? Where or how or what we're gonna be get sick with. We're gonna die by. So we just have to think in this manner, not just about ourselves. Everybody else is the same thing. Next week I might not be here with you, or you might not be here with me in the next week meeting. When you think like this, then you stop worrying about the future. Stop worrying about what's going to happen to people. You know for sure that things will happen. I think someone who raised their hand, please lower your hand and get in the queue in the back, or else you'll be waiting for forever. Because we have a queue according to the. All right, this is good enough for you.
It's enough for me. Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Next, we'll go to Anuraji.
Hi, Ajahn. Good evening. I don't have any questions today. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philip Adeline from KL, Malaysia.
Good evening, Ajahn.
Good evening, Ajahn. I got two questions tonight. One which is regard to meditation, and the other one which is a bit of a clarification of last week's talk. Okay. The one on meditation is with regards to prolonging the meditation sitting, right? At a point where the mind loses the one-pointedness and starts to withdraw, if the mantra doesn't work anymore or the chanting doesn't work anymore because the mind is agitated, can you use vipassana to calm the mind down?
You can recite the 32 parts of the body if you can.
Okay. Because what has happened is that in the previous sitting, when I was doing it, a certain maybe anger, agitation that came up, and when I started reciting a mantra or I started reciting the Itipiso, right, it didn't calm the mind. And what I did was actually to look at why did this anger arise, and is it me? Or where is the me, and who is the self? And after a while, I decided that there's actually no me, no self, and the anger just disappeared, and I could prolong my sitting and went back to my object of my breath meditation for a substantial period of time. So I was just wondering whether can you do that, or just
yes, this is called wisdom developed samadhi. We use wisdom insight to calm your mind, to bring it back to normality, so you can concentrate on your meditation object again.
Okay. Okay. So you can do that. Okay.
Yes.
The second question was regards to last week's question, which beings which are reborn in the Brahma plane or the Deva plane, and you mentioned that it's very difficult for these beings to learn the Dhamma in these planes unless there is an attachment with a teacher or a teacher that can communicate with them. So there is actually a craving for these beings, if they are in the Dhamma, to be reborn back as a human, to find a teacher. Should their merits starts to end in the Brahma plane? Is that the craving that pulls them back?
Yes, because the craving hasn't yet been got rid of by samadhi, by mindfulness. See, when you sit and meditate, you use mindfulness to calm your mind and your cravings at the same time. But when your mindfulness weakens, then your cravings and will start to come into activity again. This will then pull the mind to come to the realm of the human to fulfill its cravings again. So it takes birth again. But normally for people who have mastered this meditation practice, when they come back, they usually come back and then they start to meditate again, because that's the only thing they know how that makes them happy. But the cravings for other things are still there, but they can use mindfulness to contain them. And if they're not careful, sometimes if they are surrounded by people who have the similar cravings and may encourage that person to join the sensual pleasure activities, the person might do it, might not be fully addicted to it, but because basically person who find peace and happiness from meditation would tend to be more inclined to go back to this type of happiness. But sometimes you live in a society or in a surrounding where nobody meditates, and everybody drinks and everybody, so you might sort of go along with them. But eventually you get tired of it. And then maybe one day somehow you happen to be alone and you feel suddenly peace and happiness arising. Then it will then draw you back to the meditation practice sooner or later. Or you might come across people who meditate, like come across monks or people who do meditation, and then this will then sort of stimulate your habit of meditation to come back on again. But there's another instance though, that when you enter the Brahma world as an anagami, then you can continue on with your practice of vipassana in the Brahma world. You can be your own teacher. See? You know what you have to get rid of, which are your fetters or your defilements. So an anagami will continue on practicing while he exists in the Brahma world, and then eventually reach Nibbana from there. He won't come back and reborn in the sensual world of existence, like being human being again.
So Ajahn, a Sutapana or one returner which come back in the human realm is actually is seeking a teacher, right? Or seeking
not seeking a teacher, but it's the sensual pleasure desire keep pushing them to return.
Okay.
But they can continue on with their own practice if they are Sotapanna or Sakidagami. They can be their own teacher. Okay. They don't need to have a teacher, a noble disciple to teach them anymore, because they are noble disciples themselves, but only on the lower level, which they can teach themselves to move up higher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Is this answer both of your question? Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, then let me go to Forrest Tom next from Boston, Massachusetts.
Good evening, Ajahn. I don't have questions today, but I have been using your advice to expect the worst. And I find that it really helps whenever I'm afraid of something. I just expect that it's going to happen, and then the fear stops. So thank you for that advice.
Yeah, contemplate on death. The worst can happen to you is death or sickness.
Yeah.
And if you expect that, then you more or less prepare your mind for it, so you can get rid of your anxiety or your worry that way. But if it's going to happen, what can you do? You just have to learn to live with it.
Yes. And then the other thing is that for the past month, I've been, in addition to the 5 precepts, I'm also doing the strict 3rd precept and the 7th precept. So I'm making my practice a little stricter, and I'm planning to continue for renewing every 10 days, because I don't yet have enough courage to fully do it permanently, but every 10 days I'm trying to renew my determination to do that.
Just keep renew your contract every 10 days. When you finish your first 10-day contract, then renew them for the next 10 days. Just keep renewing. Don't stop renewing.
Okay.
Your subscription to the practice. All right.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Emily from KL, Malaysia.
Good evening, Ajahn. Ajahn, just a quick question on in terms of one who achieves samadhi but never come in contact with the Dhamma. That person would be able to be reborn in the Brahma world as well, right? Say, for example, if they can achieve 4th jhana,
That's right.
They have never come into contact with the Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma at all.
That's right. Like the 2 teachers of the Buddha who passed away before the Buddha became enlightened. They all have jhanas, so they will be reborn in the Brahma world. But they would not be able to hear the teaching of the Buddha because they passed away before he became enlightened. So he wouldn't know anything about the teaching of the Buddha. When he returned, the teaching of the Buddha might disappear from the earth, from the world again. So they will come back and continue on with the meditation practice for the Brahma world. That's the only thing they could do, because they don't have enough wisdom in themselves to teach themselves the 4 Noble Truths.
Okay.
They need to have to be in the right time when they can come across the teaching of the Buddha, either from the Buddha himself or from one of the noble disciples. Then they can become enlightened.
Right. If they meet a noble disciple, when they come back, if the Dhamma is still around, so there is a possibility they would be able to enlighten, to get enlightenment. Yeah.
Yes. If they so choose, but if they're stubborn, if they don't want to accept, then they will just maybe use their meditation practice, and if they're satisfied with that, then they may not accept the teaching of the Buddha.
Right. Okay. So
Right.
One more quick question, Ajahn. The chitta thing cannot be destroyed, right? Even if outside the samsara, I mean, once that have gained enlightenment, the chitta will still be there, right?
Yeah, it's forever. It's non-destructible. Your chitta, my chitta, everybody's chitta. But it keeps, the difference is just whether the chitta still continue in samsara or outside samsara. Outside samsara we call nibbana. Inside we call samsara. Okay. Defilement is the difference. Defilement keep the chitta in the inside samsara, and the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path will get rid of the defilement, and then put the chitta in the nibbana side.
Okay, thanks, Ajahn.
Okay. Next, Alfredo from Brazil, Sao Paulo, or near Sao Paulo. I cannot hear you. You have to turn on your microphone. Unmute your microphone.
Yes. Okay?
Okay, you doing okay?
Okay.
All right. No question. Just to say hello.
And Nibbana is a choice, Bante. Any persons have a little feel that Nibbana is prejudicial to person because he not practice. He have samsara how object.
If you're still addicted to the sensual pleasure, then you find Nibbana very difficult to practice. But if you can see that sensual pleasure brings you more suffering than pleasure, then you might want to try for Nibbana instead.
Yes.
Okay? All right.
Yes, I remember Nibbana is very good to me to not feel of samsara, to continue my practice.
Okay, good. Tell yourself samsara is dukkha, while Nibbana is sukha.
Yes.
Okay. Nibbanang paramang sukham.
Yes. Sabapapasa karanam kusala supa sampada.
Samsara paramang dukkham. This is my own saying. Samsara paramang dukkham.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Remember to.
Just remember the two are different. Just in the one word, the D and the S. One is D is dukkha. The other one is S is sukha. Nibbana is paramang sukha, the supreme happiness. Samsara is the paramang dukkha, supreme suffering.
Yes, and to be in samadhi is need happiness. No? Happiness is nibbana.
It's temporarily nibbana. Samadhi is temporarily nibbana, not permanent. You have to transform samadhi into nibbana by wisdom, by seeing the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence. Then you can get rid of your defilement that way.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Good to see you, Alfredo.
Good too.
Okay.
Thanks, Mante.
All right. Next, Lillian, Malaysian, living in Bangkok.
Good evening, Ajahn. I have one question today. Let's say you are sitting on meditation and you have to keep your back straight, right? But what if you feel like your back is very, very tired and very pain? Is it okay to just switch the position a bit while still meditating, or we should just insist on that sitting on that position no matter what?
See, once you start your meditation, then forget about your body. Okay. If you think about it, don't just ignore it. If you think maybe it's leaning to the left, maybe it's leaning to the right, just don't try to move your body, because you'll be distracted from your meditation. Just keep concentrating on your meditation object and leave the body alone.
Okay. Okay.
If not, then you'll be just moving back and forth between your meditation and you're adjusting your position of your body. Okay. Every time you adjust the body, it means you'll be starting your meditation. You come back to zero. You come back to zero again.
That's true. But if you feel very painful, what do you like? Very uncomfortable at the back?
Recite the mantra. Just recite the mantra.
Okay.
And when your mind let go of the painful feeling, then you'll feel peace and calm and not disturbed by the painful feeling of the body.
Okay, I'll try that. Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Or chanting, if you cannot recite the mantra, do some chanting. Itipiso.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Next, Belinda from Singapore.
Hello, Ajahn. Can you hear me?
Oh, perfectly. Any question?
Yes, Ajahn. Also some updates. I have ended my internship today in the elder care center. And it happened that the Elder Care Center is is an agency run by the Christian group. So because I'm with the Christian group, and they do lots of prayers and blessings, and of course there are attempts to convert and introducing the Lord Jesus Christ. So I have adapted by if you say amen, and when people pray for me, I accept the prayers and connect with the Lord Jesus as with gratitude to all sentient beings who have helped me one way or another. But not forgetting the triple gem is inside with me. Is it the right way? How is the right way to pay respect of other religion at the same time maintaining our own faith, satta to triple gem?
Same way like when you pay respect to people you pay respect. You show respect doesn't mean you have to abandon your faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. It's two separate things. It's not either or. You respect this person and then you don't respect the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. No, you can respect everybody.
So when we are in a site where majority are Christians, and
okay, when in Rome, do what a Roman does. Okay.
So
but you don't abandon your faith. You believe in the teaching of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And if they should try to tell you to do something that contradicts to the teaching of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, then you would not follow them. You will not do it. That's all. But if the teaching corresponds with the teaching of the Buddha, then you can also follow that. Because most religions have the basic teaching the same, like charity and precepts, morality. Only difference is in the wisdom level. Christians believe there's a God, but Buddhism doesn't believe there's a God. Believe in karma instead.
Ajahn, I just want to clarify, like there are different realms of celestial guardian protectors. Am I right to interpret this way?
Well, there are no protectors in Buddhism. You are your own protectors.
But these other realms, do they exist?
Like I said, there are 3 realms of existence according to Buddhist teaching. Central realms, Brahma, form, Brahma, and formless Brahma realms. There are 3 realms of existence. This is where your citta, your mind, goes or become when the body dies. But actually, it's become even now when your body is still existing. Your mind can be in the Brahma realm now if you can enter into jhana anytime. And if you have loving kindness and you do charity work, you help other people, make people happy, you are in the devil realm. So. Even while you're still a human being, but your mind is not a human anymore. Your mind rises above being human. Being human means you have to keep the 5 precepts, that's all. If you can maintain the 5 precepts, then your mind is a human. But if you break the precept, then your mind will start to become animals, or hungry ghosts, or hellish beings living in hell. So this happens even right now when you're still alive, when the body is still alive. Your mind can move up and down according to the karma that you perform. Is that clear enough to you?
Ajahn, may I ask one more question?
Okay.
About tanha. If vibhava tanha arises, how do we overcome that?
You stop it. by either using the mantra or using the wisdom. Vipawa tanha is the desire to get rid of something, like painful feeling when it arises. You have vipawa tanha. So if you don't know how to use wisdom, you use mantra, you use mindfulness. Keep reciting the mantra until you forget about the painful feeling. Then the suffering in the mind will disappear. Not the painful feeling. The painful feeling, sometimes it disappears and sometimes it doesn't disappear. But what disappears if you use mindfulness is the dukkha in your mind, when the mind becomes calm. But if you want to use vipassana or wisdom, then you have to look at the painful feeling as being anatta. It's something that you cannot force it to come or go away. Then when you know that you cannot force the painful feeling to go away, then you just have to learn to live with it. Like you cannot force the rain to stop or the sun not to shine, for instance. You just have to teach your mind to learn to live with that situation, that's all. Because if you don't, you have dukkha. If you adapt, then you have no dukkha. This is vipassana. Then your desire to get rid of the painful feeling will stop because you know it is futile and it's hurtful because it creates dukkha in your mind. All right?
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Willie from Indonesia, you're next.
Good evening, Ajahn. I would like to ask a question about the criteria of breaking a precept. Ajahn mentioned in the previous Q&A that there are 3 criteria, which are the intention and then the action and the object which is damaged. So I would like to ask my understanding, like if let's say we want to get rid of some ants and because we don't want to kill them and we ask somebody else to deal with the problem, and we know that by asking this person will kill the ants. So are we breaking the precept if we do that?
If you ask them directly, yes. But if they volunteer, then no. If you just tell them, I have a problem with this ant problem, and this person happened to be working in his profession is to getting rid of ants for people already. This person said, well, okay, I can do it for you for a fee. And he said, okay. You didn't tell him to do it for you. He volunteer his service for a fee. Then you're not breaking the precept.
Although like in advance, I will know that if I ask this person will kill the ants.
If you ask, yes, you cannot ask. You can tell him your situation.
Okay.
And if that person doesn't want to break the precept, then he will say he won't volunteer his service. But if he doesn't care about the precept, he cares more about the income that he gets from doing this job, that he will volunteer.
Okay. So if I know that this person most likely will volunteer to kill the ants and I still ask this person, so is it okay?
Don't ask. You cannot ask. You cannot tell them to do for you. You can only just tell your problem to them, and it's up for them to volunteer your service. Or even getting dana from somebody. You don't ask money for. I won't ask money from you, but I can tell you the situation that I'm doing something, and you might get the message and say, okay, he needs some money. Then if you want to give the money, fine. If you don't want to give the money, that's fine also.
So it's more like giving an information.
That's right. Giving information is not telling someone to do something for you.
Okay. So that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It might sound cynical for some people, but that's the way it is. Yeah. Because you have people breaking the precept every day as their profession. Fishermen go fishing every day.
Okay.
So you have people breaking precept to maintain their livelihood. So for them to do something for you, they don't make no difference what for them. But you must not ask them or tell them to do it for you. That's all. If you tell them yes, then this you are directing someone to do breaking the precept for you. This is considered you breaking the precept yourself. So don't tell people or ask people to kill, to steal for you. Just tell them your problem, your situation, inform them. And if they want to volunteer, that's their business. If they don't, then they don't do it. Then you have to inform some other people.
I see. Okay, so yeah, I mean, with the intention behind that, okay, I still want to deal with this problem.
Like mom cannot cut trees or branches of trees. Yeah, but we have lay people who do this thing every day in their normal life. They cut trees, they cut branches. So when monks say, I have problem with these branches, it's keeping gonna break the roof, for instance. Then the lay person will want to make merit. They think that doing service for the monk is a form of merit. So they volunteer the service.
Okay.
Same way with monk cannot keep money for themselves. So many people will volunteer the service. I'll keep the money for you. And whenever you need the money, I'll give it to you. Whenever you want to buy something, I'll buy it for you. All right. So there are some ways to go around some of the rules.
Okay. Thank you.
As long as for good purpose, not for hurting other people. But if you do it for the benefits of the monastery, benefit of other people, but you yourself cannot do it, then you have someone do it for you. But you don't tell them, you just let them know that you need this service. And performing service for other people is a form of making merit in Buddhism. To serve somebody is a form of merit, similar to dana, except that you don't have to give anything. You give the service, give your time and effort for other people who cannot do it themselves. All right?
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, Gary from Singapore. Gary, you have any question? You have to unmute your microphone. I cannot hear you.
Good evening, Tanajan. No questions from me tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Then let me go to Siddhartha from Indonesia. He's the brother of Willie. They both used to practice here at Wat Yan with us. Live and practice here. Okay, Siddhartha, you have any question?
Good evening, Tanajan. Today I don't have any question. Thank you.
You should be asking questions by now. I've been telling you many times before not to ask questions.
Oh, thank you so much, Tanajan. I will. I think I know what I should practice.
You should stop thinking. You should stop thinking, because as soon as you start to think, then your question arises. Okay? So if you're in the stage of meditation of samadhi, you don't want to think. You don't want to ask questions.
Okay.
Only when you're in the vipassana wisdom level, then you want to ask questions. If you don't know what to do, how to do it.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Tanajan.
All right. Next, Cindy, Monica.
Good evening, Tanajan.
Any question from you today?
Okay, I think I have 2 questions today. First thing is that I would like to know if, let's say, there is the mind is impatient. is it related to any factors?
Yes, your cravings, your desire, you want something. So you might start to become impatient. Because when you want something, you want it quick, right?
Okay.
So if you stop your craving, your desire, then your mind will become calm and will be patient. It can be patient when you don't want anything. But when you want something, then your mind will start to become impatient.
Okay. All right. Then the second question is, I have read your article sometime in 2018, where you mentioned that the mind moves by thinking. And also when the mind is enlightened, it has stopped thinking. Does this happen when the person passes away, or is it when the person is still living?
No, I think you misunderstand what you read. The mind, whether enlightened or not enlightened, can still think. Okay. But only an enlightened mind doesn't think by the way of the defilement. It doesn't think about greed, hate, or delusion.
Like I think this one
the Buddha still uses his thoughts he thinks, but he thinks only about Dhamma.
Okay.
He doesn't think about cravings, desiring, greeding, wanting money, wanting this and wanting that. But he thinks about how can I help this person? How can I teach this person? Okay. You still use thinking, whether after you're enlightened, you still use thinking. But you use thinking for the purpose of helping other people with the Dhamma teaching.
Oh, I think this one, your answer is response to a person at the point of death.
I don't know. I cannot remember the situation.
Oh, I think it's 2018, quite long. So that means the mind is moves by thinking.
Yes,
so,
most minds are driven by the defilement, by ignorance, by delusion, thinking that I am. So when there's an I have to look after me. I have to look after myself first. So that's why we have problem, because everybody looks for themselves. Then they clashes against each other. But if they think that there's no self, they're just knowing and thinking, then there won't be any clashes.
So it is the defilements pushing the thinking.
That's right. But once there's an I, then you want to be rich, you want to be happy, you want to have everything that you want to have. But when there's no delusion, then you know that the mind doesn't need to have anything. The mind needs peace and quiet and stop thinking, stop craving, stopping desiring. That's all.
Yeah. So it's very hard to remove the delusion.
That's why you have to start with first by using mindfulness. Once you can stop the thought from thinking with delusion, then the next thing you teach the mind, the thought to think with wisdom. Think that everything that you want is dukkha. Anything that you want will give you dukkha sooner or later. And when you see this, then you don't want to have anything. Then you can get rid of all your cravings.
Yeah, I think it's still a tug of war. it's the craving is still there, you know. There's the pulling, you know.
That's because
one say don't want, one say I want.
You don't take your practice seriously. If you do practice seriously, you won't be here now. You'll be living in a monastery.
True. Yeah, I think
you are more amateur practitioner, not the professional practitioner.
True.
Part-time practitioner, not full-time practitioner.
True.
So don't expect full-time result when you only give in part-time effort.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's always a tug of war. Front, going in and then coming out, going in and coming out.
When you practice, then you're pushing your delusion. But when you stop practicing, then your delusion keep pushing you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Tanajan.
Okay. Sweden Czech, you're next. Any question?
Hello, Tanajan.
Any comment on my speech today? You seem to notice something.
Sure. Ajahn. I think I heard one of your talk yesterday. Somebody asked you about why people who are kind always get being like used or being I can't find the word. Sorry. Like I always get pushed by like people. And you said that it's because they are stupid. So how to be kind and how to be kind and smart, Ajahn?
Well, you have to have wisdom. You have to know whether this person really needs the help or not. If they need the help, then you give them the help, or give them the proper help that they need. Don't just give money, for instance. Maybe you should teach them the way how they make money. Teach them how to make money. Then once they know how to make money, then they can make money on by themselves. So they don't have to keep coming back and ask you for more money. Like I think there's a Chinese saying is that don't give the fish, teach them how to fish. Once they know how to fish, then they don't have to come and ask you for the fish.
Oh, you know that saying, Ajahn. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what kindness means. Kindness with sensibility or with wisdom. You don't want to help them and then they start to abuse you or try to use you.
Right. The word I was speaking, I was taking advantage of. Like
Taking advantage.
Yeah, a lot of
Then
people.
if that's the case, then you have to have ubeka. You have to stop. You say no. You have to know how to say no. When you know they're taking advantage of you, then you just have to say no. If they want to borrow more money, say tell them to go to the bank. I'm not the bank. You might loan them one time, but second time they have to go to the bank. Or they should repay the loan first before you give them the second loan. This is wisdom, see. Then they cannot take advantage of you. You allow them to take advantage of you just once, out of kindness. Because sometimes you don't know whether they really need it or not. Just for the benefit of the doubt. Give them that benefit of the doubt. If they are kind people, they don't want to disturb you again. If they're not kind to you, then then they come back and want to take advantage of you. Then it's time for you to cut them loose. Right?
I think one of the things, like when we are not enlightened or not enough wisdom, like we are so afraid of people being mad or angry at us. Like if you say no, so that's a craving, right, Ajahn? That's a kind of craving, like
I
like
want to be loved, want to
love,
be.
Yeah.
But you have to accept that there are people who will love you and there are people who will hate you regardless of what you do or not do.
Right.
But you have to protect yourself, not to be abused or take advantage of by other people.
Right.
All right?
Right. Yeah, thank you, Ajahn.
Next, Sulan Hui from Singapore.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. Yeah, I got questions. Yeah, I got questions. My question is, when we see things, photos or locations, all this will evoke memories of the past. And when recalling the past, there's also the ego. So what are the ways that we should what are the ways of thinking that we should hold towards memory? So this is my first question.
What to do when the mind go to the past?
Yeah.
Well, you first have to look whether you benefit from this or not. If it hurts you, then you should bring your mind back to the present. If it doesn't hurt you, if it benefits you, then you can continue on with the past.
Okay.
If you suddenly remember where you kept the money that you've been looking for, then that's okay. But when you think about someone you love and they die and pass away and make you sad, then you should stop thinking about them. Come back to the present. Pull it back by using the mantra. If your mindfulness is not strong enough to pull back by itself, then you have to recite the mantra.
Because when I recite the mantra,
That's
then
right. Then you forget about the past.
Yeah.
You stop thinking about the past.
But because I'm like saying Buddha until I feel a bit breathless. Yeah, that's also okay.
All right. Another question? You have another question?
Okay. My second question is if we printed out extra copies of sutta, or if we are copying the metta chants on paper as part of mindful training, then how do we handle these papers that we no longer need? Are we allowed to throw it away or recycle it, or are we supposed to burn it? Yeah.
Actually, you can do anything with it. It's just like any other paper.
Oh, okay. Because
newspaper, you can sell it. They have people buying papers. You can sell it.
Okay. So it's not considered disrespect.
No, there's no disrespect. If there's no intention on your part, then there's no disrespect.
Okay. Oh yeah. My last question is how did the Buddha or like great teachers cultivate their parami to learn how to articulate and understand how to teach people the best? Yeah.
Well, usually people, intelligent people is usually diligent. They're not lazy, and they are anxious, eager to learn. They learn everything. Then this will then make them wise and smart. So don't be diligent, eager to learn. Don't play games, don't watch movies. These are not the method that will make you a Buddha.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay.
Satu.
Okay, Rosalie from Indonesia.
Evening,
Any question? Any question?
No question tonight, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Genso from Penang. Any question from you? Never have any question.
No question.
Okay, good. Let me see. Vignesh. Hi, from India. Unmute your microphone first, Vignesh. Unmute your microphone. Okay.
Hello. Can you?
Yes, can hear now.
Good evening.
From India?
From Malaysia.
From Malaysia. Okay.
Yeah.
Any question from you today?
Actually, the question like whenever I doing meditation, I feel sleepy. Sometimes I feel sleepy. Sometimes feel tired. So what I should do? Can I proceed or need to stop the meditation?
you can change to walking meditation. Instead of sitting, then get up and walk and do the same type of meditation as you were sitting. You can recite the mantra Bhutto Bhutto as you walk.
Okay.
And if you still find sleepy, then you have to reduce your food consumption.
Food consumption.
Meaning you eat too much. Because when you eat too much, your body will become sleepy.
Okay.
So if you can stop eating by midday, then when you meditate later on in the evening, you won't feel sleepy.
Then in reality, like normal, this one is for meditation time, but normal reality, like small matter, I get angry. So what I should do for this problem? I get very fast angry.
You have to reduce your expectation. Your expectation causes you to get angry. When you don't get what you expect, then you become angry.
Okay.
So just try to accept anything that comes.
Sure.
You can demand, but if you don't get what you demand, then don't get angry, because you might get it and you might not get it.
Okay. So that's my questions. That's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Is this your first time joining us today?
Yeah. Yes.
How do you find it? Good? Good enough?
Yes, good.
Okay. Continuing on joining us.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, Vince Chua from Singapore.
Hi, Ajahn. No question, but very busy looking at the impurities that rises, and then the mindfulness comes, and then the thing cease. So it's a lot of work to do, a lot of defilement and impurities to clean up.
Yes, with mindfulness you can only excuse me. Mindfulness can only temporarily clean the defilement. Keep coming back again. You need to use wisdom to clean it permanently.
Right. Another question probably, when I have I think when we are alone, it's easy to watch the mind, but when we are some social interaction, probably I like to feel the feeling at the heart area, such that using mindfulness or feelings is easy to detect the impurities that rises. So my question is that, does Vipassana, can we have a meditation object? I think I'm happy with the breath for calmness, but for social interaction, I prefer to watch the chest area, because I think feelings is easier to watch when there's some social interaction.
It's up to you. It's up to you. Whatever works for you.
Okay, so we can have more than one meditation object when we are doing something like this.
Actually, there's only one meditation object. That's your mind. Make sure it doesn't get mad, get angry, or become sad. That's all.
Right. So lots of work to do. Even the know is impermanent. You keep on calm and wander away and stuff like that. Yeah.
Just stop your craving, stop your expectation. Get rid of your expectation.
All right. So I'll try.
Take things as they come. Take things as they come. Good or bad.
Yeah. In fact, watching the mind become very interesting because you're very alert and you're having fun with it. To watch it come and go. Yeah. But
if you watch your mind, you want to make it calm, make it still. If it's not still, then it's useless. It's like chasing after the buffalo. The buffalo will not stop running, and you sooner or later will get tired of running after it. You should stop the buffalo. Use the rope, tie it to a tree or something.
But I think I'm more happy when I'm alone watching it. Yeah, when people,
you'll be more happy if you can still the mind than watching the mind.
Okay.
So don't forget the purpose is to still the mind, not just to watch the mind.
Okay.
And keep it moving. You have to stop it. You watch it to stop it, not watch it just to run after it, to follow it.
Okay. So let me try the whole week for stillness. I'll see you on next Tuesday then. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Next, Jolin Tay from Singapore. Jolin, you have any question?
No question today. Thank you.
No question today.
Yes.
All right. I think Evie is next on the list. Evie from Indonesia. Any question today?
Yeah, Ajahn. Can you
Speak
hear me,
louder.
Ajahn?
Yeah, okay.
Namo Buddhaya, Ajahn. Ajahn, why is my practice like walking in the place? Like keeping the needle standing in the water. So hard.
Because you don't have mindfulness. The lack of mindfulness is the cause of failure in your practice. So you have to keep developing mindfulness. Keep reciting the mantra. Stop thinking.
I think I rather like to anapanasati than reciting the Buddha, because when I reciting the Buddha, it can make me headache.
No, it depends on what your position is. If you're
I can
sitting,
hear you, Ajahn.
if you're sitting, then watching your breath is okay. But if you're moving, it's very hard to watch your breath.
I cannot hear you.
Well, there's something wrong with your speaker. Everybody else can
There
hear
is
me,
no
all
sound,
right?
Ajahn.
Okay, and then it's your problem.
Yeah, I cannot hear Ajahn say what. Maybe the signal are not good.
Maybe the noise in the background.
No noise, but the signal.
But you can hear me now.
I can hear now.
Okay.
Why when I reciting the Buddha, that is kind of my head are
Okay, watch what.
Headache.
Just focus on what you do when you're not sitting. When you're eating, focus on your eating. When you're washing your dishes, focus on your washing dishes.
I mean, when I sitting meditation, I cannot say Buddha.
Okay, no need to Buddha. Then use your breath. If you sit, then you can watch your breath, but not in other posture, because it's difficult to watch your breath when you're doing something.
Yeah, it's right. When I'm doing something, I just Buddha. It's okay.
Okay.
And it seems when I meditation, it seems like I have to let go of all new desire. Then my body can be silent all, and the breath start to disappear. But I become busy looking for breath again. At this moment, if I think I just a little thinking pops up, I will get out from here, Ajahn. When I start to lose my breath, I will be see why my breath is go now. Where is my breath? I was that is a little thinking. Where is my breath? Where is my breath? And I comes up from this condition. What should I do?
Just stay at the same point where you used to see the breath. If there's no breath, just watch the emptiness.
But no breath. So
okay, there is breath, but you cannot feel it. If there's no breath, then you die.
Yeah, and when
if you don't die, then
I don't die.
then you just cannot feel it. That's all. So you don't feel it. You just watch the emptiness. Just make sure your mind don't think. That's all.
Just focus from.
The same point. The same point. Focus at the same point.
No breath is okay.
Okay,
just focus.
No problem.
Focus here.
Maybe the breath is very subtle.
Yeah. Okay, Ajahn. I will try it. Okay, Ajahn.
Okay. Constance from Singapore. Yeah.
Good evening, Ajahn. I have no question today. Just happy to join and listen.
All right.
Thank you.
I think that's about all the people who wants to ask questions. And I think if that's all there is, then we'll go to question from Facebook. Okay. Kunla, are there any questions from Facebook today?
Yes, there are 3 questions from Facebook, Ajahn.
First question from Linda Lee. On the fifth precept, I took a few mouthfuls of wine just for tasting, not with the intention to be intoxicated. Is this all right, or consider breaking the precept?
Breaking the precept, yes. As soon as you put alcohol in your body, even just one drop, it's breaking the precept already.
And next question from To Tang Peng. Dear Ajahn, is it right view or wrong view or okay for a Buddhist to believe that using chanting specific mantra will help to eradicate bad previous done karma? Thank you.
This is wrong view. You cannot eradicate your past karma. Your past karma is already done, and it just takes time for it to take result. That's all. So you have to prepare yourself to receive the bad karma, the result of your bad karma, your past karma.
And last question from Ho Keen. For lay people, if he want to faith to Buddha teaching as Ajahn is a teacher, what's your recommend?
I don't understand the question. Can you read the question again?
He said, for a lay people, if he want to faith to Buddha teaching as Ajahn.
Faith, what do you mean by faith?
Faith, F-A-I-T-H, faith.
F-E-I, faith. If faith, yes. Faith is a noun, it's not a verb.
Yes, he write in this way.
So if a person want to have faith or want not to have faith in the Buddha.
He said for a lay, if he want to faith to the Buddha.
He wants to have faith in the Buddha. He wants to believe in the Buddha.
Yes, and what's your recommend?
Well, this is what we are talking about. We have to have faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. This is the basic thing that every Buddhist have to have, or else they won't come here. They won't study his teaching, the Buddha's teaching.
And there's one question just coming, Ajahn, from Tutu Pan. I am Tutu from Nepal. What is the difference between sankhara and karma?
Sankhara is thought, and karma is action. That can be done by thought, speech, and body. So these are two different things. Karma are action done by your mind, by your speech, by your body. While sankhara are your thinking. What you think is sankhara. All right. Anybody would like to ask any question? You're welcome. One more.
Yes, one more. Just coming from Facebook from Melvin Tay. Hi, Ajahn. Is there necessary to ask for 5 precepts in chanting every day, or is it okay as long as we practice keeping 5 precepts?
No, once you keep the 5 precepts, there's no need to ask for 5 precepts anymore. Only ask once, which is mean resolution. When you set up the resolution only once. From now on, I want to keep the 5 precepts. Then you just keep continuing keeping the 5 precepts. You don't need to take the resolution every time you chant or every day you get up in the morning. Some people like to take resolution of the 5 precepts before going to sleep, which is crazy. When you go to sleep, you don't break the precept anyway. No, so you only do it once. Once you know that you are keeping the 5 precepts, then you just have to be mindful of keeping the 5 precepts. You don't have to chant. But if chanting will remind you, will make you more mindful, then you can chant. You can chant the 5 precepts if you like to reinforce your mindfulness, to remind you that you have to keep the 5 precepts. Like monks, every 2 weeks, we monks have to come in and reinforce our 227 rules, the Patimokkha. every 14 days, the Buddha said monks should assemble, and one of the monks then will recite the 227 rules to remind the monks what they have to do, what they have to observe. Or else they can forget, especially with 227 rules. So every fortnight, every 15 days, monks will gather in the shrine, and then one of the monks will be the one who will recite the 227 rules.
Ajahn, there are 6 more questions from
Okay,
Facebook.
go ahead.
Question from Melly Teng. Question from Eli Hassan. Ajahn, my friend asked me to text. He is asking whether should split when relationship has broken or stay because the marriage already have been 20 years.
Whether should split, should what?
Or stay.
Whether should split or stay, it's up to you. You want to stay or you want to go? You don't ask me, you ask yourself.
Next question from Jenny Lim. When I meditate in the morning, but not sitting in the evening, can I still improving in meditation?
The more you practice, the more you will improve. This is the basic rule. The less you practice, then the less you will improve. So if you want to improve, then do more. Increase your practices.
Next question from Eddie Gan. Venerable Thanachan, if we eat the food or drink the soup that contain alcohol, is it considered break the precept? Thank you.
Well, according to the letter of the precept, yes, you are breaking the precept. But according to the spirit, you might not be breaking this because you don't drink it as a drink, as an alcohol. But it's part of the food that they put in there as an ingredient of food and doesn't cause any drunkenness. Then you're not breaking the spirit of the precept, but you are still breaking the letter of the precept. So it depends on what you want. You want to keep the spirit or you want to keep the letter of the precept. Then you have to decide for yourself.
Next question from Melvin Tay. Dear Ajahn, I keep meditation practice every day. Sometimes can sit for 45 minutes, but couldn't achieve happiness or samadhi. What's your advice?
Because your mindfulness is not yet continuous. Your mind keeps going back and forth between thinking and your meditation object. You have to keep it focused only on your meditation object only, not allowing it to go think about anything. Then your mind can then become still and become happy.
Next question from George Lim Tanboon. Dear Ajahn, one day when a person decides to be ordained, can the person prepare a fund sufficient to cover for the monk basic need for the rest of the life? The fund will be managed by somebody else, as I feel bad depending on other support.
The Buddha doesn't allow monks to have any fun. The Buddha asks monks to rely on their own diligence, their own ability to support themselves by going on bintabat, by alms round, and by maintaining the precepts, the rules of the monks. This will ensure that they will get continual support. So as becoming a monk, you don't need to have any fun, because this can be can hurt you, because sometimes when you find you have difficulties or you lack something, instead of trying to teach yourself to learn to live with what you have, you might rely on the fun. to buy things for you, which you might not need to have really. So it's better not to have any fun. And besides, if you do, if somehow you get discouraged after you become a monk for a while, you might decide maybe I can go back, and because I have some money waiting for me again. So you have to cut off the thing that will lure you back into the lay life. Cut off the bridge, disconnect the bridge. You know, if you have the bridge, then sometimes your defilement will convince you to go back.
Yeah.
You know, when you go through difficult times, hard times, or when you're not moving forward, then you might become discouraged, and then you start thinking about the money that you save to support your ordained life. Maybe I can use it now. I'll come back later on. You know. So this can be harmful to your monkhood. If you don't want it to become harmful, then don't have any money. Don't need the money, unless if you're not ordained, like some women, they cannot ordain as monks do. Then they have to have a certain amount of money to support them. But this can also be dangerous for them, because sometimes they might use it wrongly. Instead of for supporting their practice, they can disrupt the practice by spending money on some other activities.
Next
so I recommend you don't need to have any money when you become a monk. You don't need money. Being monks, you are well supported.
Next question from Melvin Tay. Dear Ajahn, I practice Dana and Sila, but I don't feel great happiness, as I think that is an obligation of Buddhists. Is that acceptable?
Well, you get some happiness, but they are minimal as compared to the happiness you will get from meditation. So you want to also, besides practicing Dana and Sila, you want to practice Bhavana also. That's when you get most of your happiness from.
Next question from Ho Keen. At the time meditation, changing the way of breath can break continuous calmness.
You don't change your breath. You just keep watching your breath. Leave the breath alone. Whether if the breath becomes coarse or becomes subtle, or whether it becomes long or short, just don't force your breath. Just keep watching your breath.
Next question from Tin Jack. Dear Ajahn, thank you for the wonderful talk again. Can I know what the difference between attaining arahanthood and Buddhahood? Is it the same kinds of nirvana? Thank you.
Okay, no question, just comment, right?
There are 3 questions just coming, Ajahn. Question from Tin Jack. Dear Ajahn, thank you for the wonderful talk again. Can I know what are the difference between attaining arahanthood and Buddhahood? Is it the same kinds of nirvana? Thank you.
Yes, the same kind of nirvana, same destination. The difference is the Buddha taught himself the way to get to Nibbana, while the Arahant uses the Buddha's teaching to teach them to get to Nibbana. Only one person can teach himself to go to Nibbana. Then once he knows the path, then he can teach other people to go to Nibbana. They become Arahant, noble disciple of the Buddha. Because it's very hard to teach yourself to get to Nibbana. For most people, it's almost impossible. Except for one exceptional person we call the Bodhisattva, who has this special ability to be able to teach themselves to get to Nibbana. Then once there's a Buddha, then it's easy for other people to get to Nibbana.
Next question from Ho Keen. If I alert and hold my body to prevent it bend down when meditate, is it right?
No, you forget about your body when you meditate. You just keep watching your meditation object. Forget about the body once you start meditating.
And last question from Melvin Tay. Dear Ajahn, is there anything left after one achieves arahantship? Where does arahant reside?
Everything's still the same. The body is still there when you become an arahant. Like the Buddha, he became an arahant at the age of 35, and his body was still healthy and strong. So he lived for another 45 years, his body. It doesn't mean that when you reach arahantship, then your body will then die. No, your body and the mind are two separate entities, not dependent on one or the other. But they coexist with each other. Once the body dies, then the mind continue on as an arahant forever. Doesn't take birth anymore, doesn't take up a new body. Is that all?
There's one question just come in,ท่านอาจารย์, from Melvin Tay. Dear Ajahn, before someone achieves Sotapanna, do you achieve path to stream winner before Sotapanna?
You have to achieve jhana first before you can go to wisdom to achieve Sotapanna. When you practice vipassana, then you're practicing the magga, the path, the Sotapanna path. And when you can let go of the fetters, then you achieve Sotapanna, the fruit of Sotapanna. Okay, is that all?
Last question from Community Center of Dhamma. Is it wrong if we sincerely fall in love with Sangha member?
The Sangha member, is it wrong? Well, it is wrong because you shouldn't, because Sangha doesn't have, and they don't have lovers, So you will be disappointed, or you can cause them to disrobe if you fall in love with them, and then you show your attraction toward them and try to win them, and maybe you might be able to pull them away from the Sangha and disrobe, which is bad for both of you.
That's all, ท่านอาจารย์
So look for somebody else. Don't look for the Sangha for your lover. There are plenty of other people around. Don't go after monks. Leave the monks alone. But there were women who goes after monks. You might have heard the story of a Japanese monk. He'd been ordained for about 40 so years, and he was Ajahn Chah's disciple. But then this lady who keep coming to the monastery and support him and help him do things for him. So by getting acquainted and being close, eventually win him away. So he disrobed and married to this woman. So this is something that is damaging to the monks who disrobe, and also maybe to the woman, because the woman will also not advance in her practice. She's still under the influence of the sensual pleasure desire. Instead of overcoming, ridding of the sensual pleasure desire, they both increasing the sensual pleasure desire. The more will be the time spent in samsara. Then the more dukkha will follow. The more aging, sickness, and death will follow. All right. Anybody has any question Beside Facebook, Anura. Okay, Anura. Please unmute your microphone. Okay.
Hello, Ajahn. Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. Yeah. Question connecting a few questions, a few answers before previously you have given in this forum. It is correct to say that even an Arhat will have Panchaskanda? Is it
yes,
correct?
they still have, the body is still there and the Namakanda is still there. Even after the body died, the four Namakanda is still there also. The four Namakanda are parts of the mind, of the parts of the Chitta. Except they don't function, they don't use them. They steal the mind most of the time when they have no contact with the body.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Tanaja. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody would like to ask any question? Sulan Uwe, you first, Evangelist Sierra.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. Yeah, I have questions. So, a question one is that is it good to hold this view that if let's say in the future life, I hope to still be able to practice together with my family and friends and be able to help them like in this path in the future lifetime. Is it the right view to hold?
It's not, because you don't know the future. You cannot predict what the future will be. So it's better to have the view that I should practice now with them and become enlightened in this lifetime and get it all over with. This is a better view, better than, and you can do it. The Buddha said you can do it in 7 days, 7 months, or 7 years.
Okay. Then, but if let's say I cannot do it.
That's because you think like that. If you think I can do it, then you can do it. So think positive. I can do it. I can do it. Start doing it now. You want it, but you don't want to do it. You want the result, but you don't want to do the practice. You still want to have your cake and eat it too.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Question? Really? Okay. Go ahead.
Tanajan, just now you mentioned that you need jhana to go into the stream entry path. It doesn't have to be fourth jhana, right? Any of the jhana, right? Can be jhana.
No, fourth. You need fourth jhana. You need to have equanimity. You have to be able to stop the mind, stop the defilement with equanimity. Without equanimity, you cannot stop the defilement.
Okay. With fourth jhana, then you go into the panya stage, the wisdom stage.
Right, to teach you that what the problem is. The problem is your misunderstanding of the five khandha as being yourself.
Okay,
so you teach your mind to let go of the attachment. To let go, you need equanimity to let go of the five khandhas.
Right. Then only you can get rid of the first 3 fetters from that.
You have to get rid of all the 10 fetters. Nobody can get rid of it for you.
Right.
You have to get rid of it with wisdom.
For Sotapanna stage. For Sotapanna stage.
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
No, just for one to become Sotapanna, we need to reach fourth jhana as well. Is it? Before...
You have to have equanimity from fourth jhana. But when you develop wisdom, you don't stay in the jhana.
Okay.
When you take the test, you don't stay in the jhana. When you go to fearful places to test your mind, to let go of your attachment to your body, you don't go into jhana. But you keep telling yourself that the body is impermanent, it's gonna die one day, sooner or later. So if it's gonna die now, then you can accept it because you know it's not you. And when you can do this with equanimity, then the defilement cannot want to have the body not to die. Because you see with wisdom that there's no other way. You cannot prevent the body from dying. So you let it be with using equanimity to stop your defilement.
Thanks.
All right?
All right, thanks.
Once you can get rid of your first fetter, then the other two fetter follows automatically. Because you're seeing the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha inside your mind. You see the Four Noble Truths working in your mind. And you know that the Four Noble Truths is discovered by the Buddha, taught by the Buddha. So you have no doubt in the Buddha. And you have no doubt in the Dhamma, his teaching, because his teaching is what you are practicing right there and then. And you have no doubt of a noble disciple because you have become one yourself. You have become a Sotapanna.
So we keep on going on the cycle, then we go through the whole cycle of fourth jhana again and go into this vipassana. Then you become a sakadagami, then go back to the whole cycle again, right?
Now, once you have jhana, you can always maintain it. See? Anytime you feel that your mind become restless, you can enter into jhana to recharge your equanimity. Then you can come back out and then use vipassana to get rid of your fetters, the remaining fetters that you haven't yet got rid of.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody? Any questions from anybody?
Belinda.
Belinda? Okay.
Ajahn, I have a recurring question. It keep popping in my mind, so I thought it's just good to ask. Could Ajahn explain chanda?
Chanda, viriya, the four what you call itibata, right? Chanta, viriya, citta, vimamsa. Chanta meaning to have what you call enjoyment in doing what you want to do. When you have enjoyment, then you find it easy to do. If you enjoy practicing meditation, then you'll find it easy to meditate. And how do you get enjoyment? By studying the efficacy of the benefit from meditation. And when you know that if you meditate, you get jhana, you get happiness, then it will give you the enjoyment, the desire to do this practice, meditation. So maybe it's not enjoyment. The word itself has many shades meaning, but actually mean you have the encouragement to do something. This is called chanta. You have the desire, the will to do something, the wish to do something. Like we have the desire to go travel, right? Because we learn that traveling is fun, having fun. So you have chanta, you want to travel. This is called chanta. Once you have chanta, then your energy will come, your diligence will come. You push yourself to go get preparation for your trip. If you want to go travel, you'll get booking the hotel, booking the ticket for the flight and so forth. You won't be lazy. You have diligence. Then you have concentration. You only concentrate your mind on preparing yourself for the trip, nothing else. This is called citta and vimamsa. Same way with Dhamma practice. If you find that if you practice the Dhamma, it will give you enlightenment. Then you will have chanta, the desire, the desire to do the practice. Then you have the energy to Once you have the desire, then the energy will come naturally. And your concentration and your thought will be devoted to the practice of Dhamma only. All right, is this clear enough?
So can we apply chanda in work?
Yes, the same thing, anything. It can be anything. Study, you want to become a doctor, yeah, if you have chanda, you will succeed. If you like to study, if you want to study, if you enjoy studying, then you will succeed. This is what chanta means, to like, to enjoy, to want to do this thing. This is called chanta. And in order to have chanta, you have to know the benefits from what you will do, right? Once you know that if investing in this company will give you a lot of money, then you will have chanta to work with this company.
So when we applied chanda
to everything that you want, either Dhamma or worldly stuff, doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
But for us practitioners, when we apply chanda for lay people, especially that I still have to work, the sort of chanda that we apply, bringing Dhamma to others.
That's not the right chanda, because you don't have Dhamma. How can you bring Dhamma to other people when you yourself don't have it yet? You first have to have the Dhamma first before you can bring the Dhamma to other people.
I didn't ask. I learned to be in present, keeping anapanasati when I help people with dementia. And I find if I can keep the mind back to the present moment, the present on anapanasati, not having the mind to think, it helps the person with dementia to come back to present too. So without having to say anything, but I just have to be in present to the body, and it sort of helped the other person too. So it sort of give me a motivation to have a strong motivation to keep the mind to the present.
That's right. This is chanta. Motivation is chanta. This is the right word. Motivation is meaning chanta.
Okay. So is that also can consider as practicing or helping at the same time?
Yourself or other people? You first need to help yourself first.
Yes.
Before you can go help other people.
So by feeling that I know that I'm meeting someone with dementia, I'm going to help the person, and that gives me more motivation to be keeping the mind in present.
That's good. That's good.
There's also a chanda. Am I right?
Yes. You see the benefit from doing these things, so you want to do it more. And you want to share with other people. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Anybody else?
It's Evie.
Evie again, okay. Evie.
Namo Buddhaya, Ajahn. Can Ajahn hear me?
Yes.
Ajahn, is have a desire. Desire is a hindrance, because a half year ago, my sitting meditation are very easily enter. I say a little bit stranger state, but because when I meditation, it's like entering a room very suddenly, like change condition, and I hard to explain. It is very different condition because I am like a new human. I only can say I am new human. It's very clear. My breath goes in, goes out are very clear. I am like new human. I cannot explain it. I'm very happy in this stage. And the happiness can last up to for 2 days. I am very miss this condition, Ajahn. But now
If you can create it once, you should be able to create it again.
Yeah, but now it can. It's very difficult now.
Because you lost the way, you forget how to make it happen.
I forget it. Yeah, and I am thinking now, am I unable to enter this stage because I have a desire, and
That's
desire
right.
is a hindrance.
The desire to have what you had is the hindrance to your practice. You should forget about the past what you had. You should concentrate in the present. Keep the mind still.
And that way, how can I remember that way again, Ajahn? Because like
well,
I
if
just
you don't
remember,
just restart with
Yeah,
mindfulness. The mindfulness will eventually bring you back to that point.
Is that the samadhi, Ajahn? I don't know.
Yes. That's called samadhi.
Oh, yeah. A half year ago, I am very easily to enter that stage, but now it's never again. And I am so missing
Because
that
you don't stop
stage.
thinking. You don't stop thinking. You keep thinking. You keep desiring for it. See? So you'll never get there. But as soon as you stop thinking, you'll get there right away. I guarantee you.
Oh, okay, Ajahn. Yeah. So I have question. Sometimes I see alcohol. Yeah, I very want to drink just a little cups. And the alcohol is only.
It always start with a little, then it continues, then it moves up to a little bit more. Then before you know it, you drink the whole bottle.
Only 4%, Ajahn. Only 4%. I have read it. Oh, the composition only 4%. But
don't touch it at all. If you want to meditate, don't touch it at all.
Okay.
Even one drop. Throw the bottle away as soon as you. Or give it away. Don't keep it in the house. Don't keep it near you.
In my mother's house, not in my house.
Away. Yeah.
Okay, Ajahn.
Anybody else? Any question?
Regarding about that story, Ajahn tell about that monk who is has married to that woman. I have question. Is that woman have a great sin, Ajahn, because she has?
No, she has a lot of sensual desire, sensual pleasure desire.
That woman who make that monk have love with her, have a great sin.
Well, she has a lot of defilement, a lot of craving, sensual pleasure, strong craving for sensual pleasure.
So they both will go to hell together?
No, not necessarily. They can still be a deva, they can still be human as long as they keep the 5 precepts. Not if they don't break the precept, then they don't want to go to hell or becoming animals. Only when they break the precepts.
So the precept is very important.
Yes, precept will prevent you from going down to the lower realm of existence.
So drinking a little cup alcohol can make us to go to hell too, Ajahn?
Not a little, but it will start to increase more and more as you start. Once you start, then you'll start to increase more drinking.
If I want to more again, it's okay. Just a little cup, just okay.
Once you start, you cannot stop. So don't start.
Okay.
As anybody, how come they become addicted? Because they started just a little, then a little more, then a little more. Keep adding up. See. So don't start. You don't want to.
Okay, Ajahn.
Okay. Anybody? Any more question? Kunda have more question from Facebook?
Yes, 2 more questions from Facebook.
Okay.
2 questions from Ho In. At the fourth state of jhana, is it true that you feel no self when meditate?
When you enter into jhana, everything becomes still. So everything disappears. All you have is emptiness.
Next question. What is the state of meditation when noise cannot disturb the meditator?
That's equanimity. That's when you have equanimity.
And one question just come,ท่านอาจารย์, from Sue Christie. Good evening, Ajahn. I hear ringing sound whenever I meditate. May I know is this normal?
It's probably normal for you, but it doesn't mean it's not normal for everybody. But what you can deal with it by ignoring it. When you meditate and you hear any sound or see anything, just keep focusing on your meditation object. Then sooner or later they will disappear by themselves. Don't try to manage them. As soon as you try to manage them, then you lose track, you become distracted, and you lost your meditation. You lose your meditation. So keep focusing on your meditation object. Don't be distracted by anything that appears when you meditate. All right, anybody else? Do you have anybody asking any question? Looks like nobody. Almost Suling again, Sulan. Sulan, unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. I have one last question for tonight. Is that like should we hope to practice under the? I mean, hope to practice the same teacher?
Again, repeat the question again.
As in, should we hope to like practice with the same teacher and meet the same teacher in the
Don't think about the future. Just focus on the present. Find a teacher that can teach you, then stick with that teacher. But don't worry about the future, because the future is not certain. If you lose this teacher, then look for a new teacher. That's all. Or if you don't like this teacher, or you find this teacher is not good enough for you, then you look for a new teacher. Don't be fixed. Be flexible. All right.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world of anicca, you cannot be always certain that things will be according to what you want it to be. So it's better to be flexible, be prepared for change. So then when change comes, you won't be discouraged or be sad. But if you fix that everything has to be the same, then when change comes, then you can become sad or unhappy. So you try to be flexible, try to adjust to the ever-changing situation of your life. Things tomorrow might not be like today. You might get something new and you might lose something old. All right. This is the mindset of a practitioner. We call santosa. Yeah, santosa. In Pali, in Thai we call sando. Just be flexible. Taking whatever comes. Be ready. Like the French say, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be.
Okay.
All right, don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
I think that's about all for tonight. We have exactly 2 hours. So it's pretty good time for us to say goodbye for now. Thank you very much for your participation. Very happy to see you all. Hope you are benefiting from this Dhamma session, and hope to see you again next week. Goodbye, good night for now.
สาธุค่ะอาจารย์
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Kun Amin. Thank you, Kun La. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ajahn. Take care, means.